you here today are leaders of others. Is that true? My coach was a beacon of hope. And the work that we do in sport today, it's emerged that not every athlete who has transitioned out of being an athlete into some other career had a coach who was a beacon of hope for them. Talk about leadership. If you really were to boil down what that is all about, it is about being a beacon of hope for others. Later on, we'll talk about one of the key things that resilient people, if you like, structurally have in their life is very excellent relationships. Productive relationships, wonderful relationships, people that they care about, people who care about them. And so we talk a lot about the coach-athlete relationship. In the context of today, we're talking about the primary relationship that your people have with you. Because you will be their beacon of hope. And when they look at you, what do they see? When you turn up to work every day. So I go back to my days as an athlete, and I can literally count. I had a coach, his name was Tim McLaren. He was the inspiration for our business. Because I wanted to teach other coaches to be the type of coach that he was. And the influence that he had on me. And I can literally count on one hand the number of times that Tim turned up to the rowing club, despite all of the stuff that's going on, and plenty of stuff happens in sport, just the same as it happens with you in your life. We live in a parallel world. And yet, I can count on one hand the number of times I looked at Tim and I didn't see a sense of, hope, that he wasn't our beacon of hope, that we were going to improve things today. That's pretty remarkable for a coach that I stayed with for 12 years and trained sometimes up to 16 times per week. And I really thank him for that, because if the leader is not optimistic, what hope does anyone else have? Is that a burden? Is that something that's sort of too hard to do? Man, it's an obligation, really. When we talk about being a leader, we can talk about your rights and privileges, or we can talk about your obligations and responsibilities, right? Now, if you're the type of leader who thinks it's all about your rights and privileges, just because you're a leader, you have a certain right to do certain things, you get a better car space, you get paid more money, you get more responsibility, all of these things, then if you think it's about all of the privileges associated with that, well, you're not going to be the type of leader that other people are going to want to follow. And that's just basically how it is, I think. And I borrowed that from a famous American football coach when I watched him speak when I was also speaking at a conference over in the States a few years ago. His name was Lou Holtz. And he spoke about being the type of leader who is driven by your obligations and responsibilities or accountabilities. And I think if you stand in front of a group of people to provide leadership, then you are obligated to be a beacon of hope, regardless of what's going on around you. And that means you do have to have additional leadership or resiliency skills. Would you agree? So it literally is a part of you. It's who you are. It's how you define yourself.